This is a grinding wheel, and it will kill you. Welcome to Wiz Creek Workshop. My name is Yuchel. I've always been fascinated by the use of precision grinders in machine shops. At the hands of an experienced user, I know these can yield precision and the accuracy that simply the milling machines and lathes just cannot achieve. And one of these grinders is called tool and cutter grinders. And when a Cincinnati number 2 came up for sale about 3 hours away,
who does number 2 work for?
About a year ago, I guess, I just had to get it. Cosmetically, it has seen better days, but given the fact that these don't come up for sale often around here and the price was more than fair, I decided to take a chance.
Shut up and take my money!
Who knows, maybe beneath the rough exterior, it could be even worse. Probably. Hello? Hello? Why aren't you? Hello? Hello? As you can see, the grinder looks a little rough. And to be honest with you, I don't know what kind of condition it's in. So I can't promise it's going to be a restoration or refurbishment. So I'm just going to title this video Assessment. We'll go through it together, take some of the parts apart and see what it looks like. And we'll decide if it's worth investing our time. Like I said in the intro, this grinding wheel can kill you. This is happens to be a diamond, but one of the previous owners made this backer wheel, arbor adapter. Yeah, arbor adapter. And given that it spins at 3,600 RPM or 5,800 RPM, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this when it's running. I'll include some close-up pictures so you know what that looks like. This is the original tag with the serial number, and based on research, this one was made in 1951. Korean Warrior. This is the original Bijur one-shot loop system. And they added this metal plate on top. This is not stock. I think it's so they can put a magnetic indicator base on it, which is a good idea, but the execution doesn't look very good. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. If I keep it, I'll modify that somehow. Right here is a taper indicator, so you can grind a taper. This whole table tilts left and right. This is a standard head. It does not tilt. They had some fancier ones that tilts and does a few other things. Look at that long adapter that previous owner made. Here's a master start and stop. My understanding is, as an add-on, you could have ordered it with additional controls for motorized work holding or light. This one did not come with that. This is under the table. It's pretty dirty. This is the back of the head. I don't know what's going on with the paint. I think it is original paint, but it's just crusty, wrinkled, and just doesn't look good. This red vinyl is not original. Originally there would be black rubber bellow material. I did a little research and I can't figure out where I can buy a replacement. So if you guys know, please comment below and let me know. I sure love to buy another one. In order for the one-shot loop to work, this dimple and this dimple has to line up. Otherwise it doesn't get oiled properly. There's a little sign there indicating as such, but I wonder how many operators actually paid attention to that. It's interesting to note this knob handle control here is replicated in the back as well, so you can stand either front of the machine or the back of the machine to operate it. Here's a handle. It's also replicated by that handle. This one down here is to raise and lower the head, and there's another handle on the other side so you can stand on either side. The head can rotate left and right also. Let's take a look inside. 3/4 horse, 208 220 motor, 3-phase, and inside There's disconnect, power distribution, there are contactors there, fuse. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be removing all that and retrofit with something more modern and reliable. The electrical work on this is pretty poor. Here, somebody added a transformer to get 120, to control 120. Added a box with duplex outlet for 120. It's all fed off the 3-phase. There's a start stop button, I think it's for the accessory, and fed from the main, I guess. Oh no, it feeds into main right there through the conduit, but it doesn't end there. On the back of it, there's another controls. Those are 3-phase outlets. So they were definitely powering some other things with it, but I think that's all gonna have to go. Let's take a quick look at the motor. There's the main head column that raises and lowers. There's a belt, motor, and oh, look at that. The wires are almost touching, at least 2 conductors there. And there are 2 diameter pulleys. This is for lower RPM, I think it's 3800, around there. This one gives you, if you go change there, it gives you about 5600, I think. I'll post the correct numbers on the screen. And you loosen this bolt and one above it, and using that little lever, you can tension the belt. Doesn't look too horrible in there, given how old it is. Original primer. The overall paint is pretty bad. I don't know what all that brown is.
Who does number 2 work for?
It's caked on, and I don't know if you can see, but the paint is not smooth at all. It's all bumpy and it chips off easily too. Maybe ASMR video or something. Right here is really bad. I'm sorry for that fan noise. I do have a heater going. Let's see if we can get these nuts loose. I see the left stud was replaced. This looks original. Don't know what that means, but we'll find out. There's a pin underneath that register into that slot, so you can adjust the taper per foot in inches. Wow, look at that. It's gonna need a good scrub, and this piece should just come out. And it does. Not the prettiest, but it's all right. Let's see, let me figure out a best way to lift that. Move the table over. There we go. That doesn't look very clean, but I've seen worse. Let's wipe that off real quick. We'll remove these stops next. Already loose. That's good. Now there are 4 stop blocks, 2 on each end. We'll see if we can get these out. Now there's a rack that's below this table, and the rack is mounted to it by these 5 screws, except the one at the end, it's like they filled it with something, so I'm gonna have to fish all that out. A lot of grinding dust and whatever. Who knows? Ah, that one has some mystery material in it. Don't want to hit too hard because you don't want to damage the ball bearings that this table rides in. It's like body filler. I think I got it. Well, I soaked the screws with some Croil. We'll see if that helps. Okay, I got these two loosened. Just need to give a little more Croil and give it a tug. Well, I'm glad I got those out. Alright, we're gonna lift, we're gonna wedge up the main table off the apron. There's a rack, like I said, and I just want to make sure it's all separated. So I'm just gonna use some 1/4-inch pieces of plywood that I got, and we'll shim it in there. Let's see. I don't know if you can see that, but the rack has been detached. Now I'm gonna need some help to lift the table. While I wait for some help on lifting that, let's take this off and see what's going on. Like I said, I think it's for an indicator stand, magnetic indicator stand or something. Paper towel. Paper towel. Nice. Yep, it's just for that. Get some crud away from that cap. Alright. Anticlimactic. I removed the table and I wanted to show you what I discovered. It's pretty nasty. These are balls and carrier plates, and they ride on V, well, almost V, and make contact just on each side, not at the bottom. And according to the Cincinnati manual, it's not supposed to be lubricated unless the environment is prone to rust. And they recommend a real thin coat of some sort of lubrication. But here what we have is grease, thick grease, and that is not good. There is some wear, but not as bad as I thought. It was the grease that made it look like there was a pit or groove all the way. But like I said, we'll have to clean it up and then really reassess. Here's the underside of the table. I flipped over. This side way is V. This side is just a raised flat area where the ball bearing rides on. I believe the thought is if you have V-ways on both sides, there could be some interference and conflict. So having the V-way only on one side ensures that this side can adjust in and out as needed to ensure smooth movement. It's worth noting the ways on the table and on the machine are precision ground separately and bolted on. So I guess they're replaceable. The way it's designed, I don't know if they're still available. I doubt it. But I guess if you have the means, you can make new ones. We're going to take the balls and the cage out. I already took the front ones off, but we want to make sure that we store them in the order we take them out so we can put them back exactly the same way. I don't know if it matters, but in my mind it matters because, well, the wear pattern, I guess. So just to make me happy, we're going to do that. The cage is made out of brass. rack will just slide out. Of course, you have to disengage the gears at 3 points, so you do get it slide out. The rack looks pretty good. There's a little bit of wear, not bad at all. We'll take some mineral spirits and quickly remove most of the grease so we can look at the ways. It's one of the more gentler solvents that you can use. You do want to switch out the paper towel often so you're not just rubbing that grinding dust into it. Expose fresh surface. This is non-contact surface. It's not precision ground or anything. So I'm just trying to scrub a little bit and get that residue off. Oil stains. Same thing here. It's not a mating surface. Let's take a quick look at the one-shot lube system. Right here is the fill, and inside is the reservoir. As you saw, there's a pull knob that pushes the oil through this distribution block. The top one goes to felt pad, and there are 2 holes that lubricates the V-ways and also the handle on the bottom. And the one here goes to the end and it lubricates both ends of this travel knob. Here's another one that comes all the way and lubricates both ends of the travel knob. This one goes to the felt pad. There are 2 holes, again, V-ways, and the hand knob underneath. This one travels all the way and lubricates the cross slide lead screw handle system. And this is the inlet right here. None of these gears are lubricated, and the rack is not lubricated, so that's something you have to do manually from underneath with the table moved one way or another. Let's see, and also the V-ways are not lubricated. Like I said, the manual says you don't need to do it, so it's not hooked up to that. Pretty simple, pretty gross. I wonder if it's ever seen daylight since it was made. So we're going to give it a good clean scrub with a toothbrush. And when we're done, we'll put the toothbrush back so my wife won't notice it's gone. Let's take a quick look at the ways. Like I said before, these are separate parts and they're bolted on and ground at the factory. And this is my ball, one of many that came out of the machine. And it rolls on those ways. And as you can see, the ways are ground at 45 degrees. So as the ball rolls, it does not contact the entire surface area. Right now it contacts somewhere at bottom 1/3. So I did have to clean because it was nasty. I used 4/0 steel wool with some WD-40 and try to clean up as much as I can, but you still can see some discoloration. The table, waste on the table looks a lot better. It's they're mint. On this side, it's definitely seen some use. I should say, raised burr, tiny burrs in a couple spots where maybe the machine was transported and it wasn't transported properly or whatnot. So we're going to quickly stone the surfaces with precision flat ground stones. Now it's worth mentioning again that we're not trying to remove materials. We're only looking for raised burrs. And the way these precision flat ground stones work is when you slide on the surface, if it's flat, it'll just glide right over it. But if there's a raised burr, the sound will change and it will tell you. Again, this is purpose built for something like this. Now my stone is bigger than I would like. They also make 4-inch one. Probably would be better for this, but you know, you have to use what you got. Now I'm going to put the pressure on the bottom of the stone, That's all we're doing. And you know, I'm resting my other fingers on top of it to provide more stability. That feels better, and I'm just going to do that on this side and this side of the ways as well. I try to take these control knobs off, and I just couldn't. There are taper pins, but they just didn't want to come out. I tried heating it and hammering with the punch, and I'm just afraid to go any further. So I'm gonna leave them there. I don't need to take them off. It just would have been so much easier to get around and clean and paint, but we can still accomplish what we need to do without taking it apart. Just means we have to work harder. But I do want to take this planetary, well, it's not a planetary, it's just a geared feed mechanism. There is a set screw here that I've been working on, trying to dig it out because it's been painted over many times. If I take that screw out, the whole thing should come out. Should. See if there's something else in there. I think it just the contact surface where the set screw hits is just marred a little bit. At least that's how the manual says. I need to take it off. Obviously geared, and I wanted to show you what that looks like inside. When you turn this, notice the center shaft moves at a slower rate, and that's what gives you the slow movement of the table. It is full of old grease. I don't know what's going on. And it does not smell good at all. It looks exactly how it smells. See, the manual says if I remove this set screw, this whole assembly comes out. Well, something is blocking that from coming out, so I thought I'd take this apart. Also curious how it looks. Good thing I did. I'll get this cleaned up and see what else I need to do to get that slid out. Well, I've been working on it. It's coming out slowly. Basically, I'm using the shaft. Shaft has a pinion gear at the end. I'm using that as like a slide hammer, I guess. There's just no other option. But it's going slow, so I didn't know whether I was making progress or not. So I would glue it up and mark where I am and yank on it for a while. And check where I marked, and it is coming out just very slowly. I did squirt coral oil into these holes just multiple times, try to keep it lubricated. This is the reason why it didn't want to come out. That is a little dimple where they machined for the set screw to go into. But it looks like at some point it was moved and reinstalled, and it wasn't placed back exactly where it was originally. The set screw came down here and created this raised burr. So we're going to have to clean that up. But it is out. Next is the oiler. It was really stuck in there with multiple coats of paint overlapping, so I took an X-Acto knife and cleaned out the joint pretty well. And of course you have to loosen or take out the 4 screws. But it was really stuck on there, so I had to kind of pry a little bit with the screwdriver and finally got it loosened up. And that's what it looks like on the inside. This is the entire unit. The way it works is when you pull this plunger, there you go, when you pull on this plunger, it squirts through that hole right there, and there's a matching hole drilled right there in the casting. It just squirts to the back. I thought there was a connection of a little pipe or whatever, but no, a lot simpler than that. I probably have to replace the gasket, but I want to get this out so I can empty the tank and get rid of the old oil. It looks like good oil actually. At least they didn't fill it with like motor oil or whatever. But I wanted to clean all that out. There is a drain plug underneath here. That's about 3 inches in diameter. I tried to take that out, but I just wasn't successful. So I'm going to leave that there and we'll drain and clean it out through here and flush through the fill hole and get everything out as we can. I try to fit as much into this first episode, but it's getting pretty long, so I think we should break it up here. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the next video when it comes out. Who knows what other secrets the machine will hold. Thank you.